Have you ever felt like something was missing in your womanhood but can't really explain it? Hi, my name is Chioma and this is Advancing Biblical Femininity. This channel is for women who want to add something extra in their lives or feel like something is missing in their lives as they navigate their womanhood. Femininity is lost in our culture today, and I believe a lot of women are out of touch with their femininity. It's even strange to see a woman acting feminine. I believe through this channel, you'll be open to embracing your femininity as you listen. If this speaks to you, let me know your thoughts in the comments and stay with me as we grow together. Check this out. Hi, feminine women. For this particular video, I'm going to share with you what it means to have a quiet and gentle spirit. What it means to learn in quietness and in submission. When quietness is mentioned, a lot of women think that it's being mute, you're not allowed to say anything, or that you're allowing people to take advantage of you. But as I read the Bible, this is not it. When women hear these kinds of verses, they're opposed to it because of how it sounds and not truly understanding what it means. Stay with me as I explain this further if you want to find out. I first want to start off with the verse that this channel is famous for, which is 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 4, where it talks about having a quiet, where it mentions having a gentle and quiet spirit. The whole theme of this channel, if you don't know, you know. If you don't know, now you know. That's what I'm going to turn to right now. Okay, it says, "But let it be the hidden person of the heart with the incorruptible quality of a lowly and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God." The context of this verse is Peter is trying to tell godly women who have unbelieving husbands that the way to win over their unbelieving husbands is to have this kind of behavior, which is a quiet and gentle spirit. Having a quiet and gentle spirit is the behavior. It's not being mute. This means knowing the appropriate times to talk and also communicating in a respectful way. I want to read other verses that address this so we can understand this context further, or other verses that mention women being quiet. These verses are 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verses 34 to 35, and then 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 11 to 13. "The women are to keep silent in the churches, for they are not permitted to speak, but are to subject themselves, just as the law also says. But if they desire to learn anything, let them ask their own husbands at home, for it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in church." Now on to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 11 to 13. "A woman must learn in quietness and all submission, but I do not allow a woman to teach or exercise authority over a man, but to remain quiet. For it was Adam who was formed first and then Eve." So merely just looking at these verses, women are offended. Well, the Bible does cut deep within us because of our sinful nature. But if we allow the Word to speak to us, the Holy Spirit to work in us with conviction, He will transform us. But a lot of women see these verses and are offended. I've heard some Christian women say that it's cultural, that Paul was speaking to the situation at hand during that time and the circumstance, that the women in Corinth were disrupting the church, that there's more opportunities available for women now than it was before. But what is mentioned in 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 13 is before culture. They mention creation order. Adam was first and then Eve. So it takes it back to creation order. This gives us further context into the other verses. I'm assuming some of you have this question about, okay, what about single women who aren't married? Do they still approach the pastors and elders in their church? How does that work? And for me, what I would say, I still believe that single women can approach their pastors and elders in the church. As I am single, I approach my pastors and elders in the church. I still believe women are able to do that and can do that. But the way that I do it is I know the appropriate times to approach my pastors or elders. And if I have a question, I don't seek to argue or debate. If I have a disagreement, which is rarely ever, then there's a way that I'll phrase it for it to come off as gentle, to come off as respectful and kind. But thinking of this just reminded me of one girl I watched where she talked about how coming across as gentle with your words, it takes time. And it does take time to think of a way so that when you're relaying something, it comes off gentle. It does take time and like, oh, how am I going to phrase this? I don't know why I just thought about that, but yeah, that's what I would do as I'm approaching my pastor as a single woman. But if I were to get married, that would change. I would ask my husband any questions and concerns I have about the teaching or how I think differently on our ride back home from church or at home. But yeah, I still believe single women can approach the elders in the church if that is your only spiritual leader. And that's what I do because the elders in my church are the only spiritual leaders that I have. You have to entrust that the husband is the spiritual leader of the home if you chose the right man. Those things can wait. I want to move on to studying the character of Abigail. She's a woman in the Bible who I recently just thought about, whose character shows this quiet and gentle spirit as she approached David. And the Bible records that she was wise and discerning. So I want to read 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 3, and then 23 to 33. Okay, it says, "Now the man's name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. And the woman was good in insight and beautiful in appearance. But the man was harsh and evil in his dealings, and he was a Calebite." Okay, that's verse 3. Now from verses 23 to 33, which is kind of a lot. But stay with me. "Then Abigail saw David, so she hurried and dismounted from her donkey and fell on her face before David and bowed herself to the ground. And she fell at his feet and said, 'O me alone, my lord, be the blame. And please let your maidservant speak in your ears, and listen to the words of your maidservant. Please do not let my lord pay attention to this vile man Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and wicked foolishness is with him. But I, your maidservant, did not see the young man of my lord whom you sent. So now, my lord, as Yahweh lives, and as your soul lives, since Yahweh has restrained you from shedding blood, and from saving yourself by your own hand, So now let your enemies and those who seek evil against my Lord be as Nabal. So now let this gift which your servant woman has brought to my Lord be given to the young men who went about with my Lord. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for Yahweh will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house, because my Lord is fighting the battles of Yahweh. And evil will not be found in you all your days. And should anyone rise up to pursue you and seek your life, then the life of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living with Yahweh your God. But the lives of your enemies he will sling out as from the hollow of a sling. And it will be that when Yahweh does for my Lord according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you as ruler over Israel, then this will not cause stumbling or a troubled heart to my Lord, both by having shed blood without cause, and by the Lord having saved himself. When Yahweh deals well with my Lord, then remember your maidservant. Then David said to Abigail, Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Israel, who sent you this day to me. And blessed be your discernment, and blessed be you who have kept me this day from bloodshed, and from saving myself by my own hand. So here you see the response of Abigail to David and how she approached him and how she addressed him. Yes, she was talking about things about Nabal that might seem not as kind, but Nabal's character, that was true of him, that was his character. But focusing on how Abigail approached David, it kind of reminds me of a quiet and gentle spirit. There was just something about how she just approached him. Reminded me of, oh, this is a quiet and gentle spirit. The way she approached, or as we studied, how women approached people back then. This is what I believe a woman with a quiet and gentle spirit is. A woman with a quiet and gentle spirit seeks out peace. She's peaceful. She has peace with others. She doesn't stir up trouble. And I don't know why, but it reminds me of that verse in Titus chapter 2, verse 3, where it says, for the older women to teach the younger women, and to be reverent in their behavior, and to not be malicious gossips. So a woman with a quiet and gentle spirit, she doesn't stir up trouble. She's also submissive, allowing the qualified men in her church to lead, and the husband to lead. This is God's order for women. This is not about qualifications, because some women can be qualified to be pastors, are qualified to be pastors, but it's about obedience to God's word and what he says the roles of women are. This is how I understand the Bible. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just considering the order that God had established for the roles of men and the roles of women, so that we know how to properly relate to one another, knowing how God made men and knowing how God made women. For this channel, knowing how God made women and the roles of women is considering that fact. So there's nothing wrong with you, but seeing how what God has written in his word is a blessing to us, and that it is for our joy as women. Okay, so what this video is not saying. This video is not saying that you can't let other people know how you feel. And as we've seen the example of Abigail, she let David know how she felt. So it's not about not saying how you feel or approaching people about how they have been treating you. This is not what this video is about, or what learning in submission, having a quiet, gentle spirit, keeping silent. This is not what the apostles meant. Because there will be times, because this world is not perfect, where you would have to take up a masculine trait when you're starting to sense that someone is taking advantage of you. Someone is falling into the lines of abuse. and it is danger, and in times of danger. You would have to pick up and take up that masculine trait of assertiveness so that you set those boundaries and so that people respect you, even if it comes up to a change in your tone of voice. But you taking up this masculine trait doesn't change your essence or identity or your role. If this spoke to you, let me know of your thoughts in the comments and stay with me as we grow together. Do well to subscribe to more videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I am a woman of God, in my nature, in my thoughts. I am a woman of God, a quiet and gentle spirit.